welcome to another RSR. Tonight we are recapping the first round and predicting the Conference Semifinals of the 2022 MLS Cup Playoffs. I'll tell you how many predictions I got right in the first round and how those ties played out in a quicker fashion, and then my predictions for the conference semis and why I think those predictions, or why they are my predictions. So we'll start with the first match of the MLS Cup Playoffs first round chronologically, which the first one was the one I didn't talk about at all on this channel because life happens. With that being said, we got New York Red Bulls 1-2, FC Cincinnati. FC Cincinnati wins, comes back from down 1 to take the lead, and they win the first playoff game of the 2022 playoffs. Red Bulls get not an early goal, but a second half goal. A second half banger of a goal from Lewis Morgan. Yeah, Lewis Morgan, who also got hurt in the match somehow. Didn't see that part. But after that, Red Bulls capitulated. Penalty, Luciano Acosta scores it, then Aaron Long does not defend a counterattack well, which is what people say he's known for, is defending counters, and Brandon Vasquez scores the second goal. Good goal there as well. Cincinnati takes the lead. That game seemed like a boring game. Seemed like a really boring game for the first game of the playoffs. Everything else was better. It's probably the worst match of the first round, honestly, from what I saw and what I heard. Cincinnati got the upset, which I expected. I was right about that. 1-0 on my predictions. I thought Cincinnati were the better team than Red Bulls. I don't care if they were playing away. I don't think anybody did. Cincinnati was the better team this year. Red Bulls suck at home anyway, and Red Bulls choke in the playoffs. It was a recipe for disaster, and Red Bull's Red Bull, Cincinnati wins. It was probably the most obvious upset ever. Ever. Was it even really an upset if it was that obvious? Not really. Not in my book. I got it right. So, with that being said, 1-0 on my predictions so far. Next match on that Saturday, we had LA Galaxy 1 Nil over Nashville Sc. I had that match wrong. Was live for it and I reviewed it. But with that being said, Nashville just didn't play the way I would have expected them to. They let LA have the possession. They sort of parked the bus. Had a 3 at the back, 5 midfield. Not what they normally use. Then you also see them basically totally just let Shaq Moore try to be the hero. Didn't work. Jacob Schaffelberg doesn't start, and if he did, Nashville could have probably won this match. Chicharito doesn't score, but a great cross from Granzier to Julian Araujo. Header there, goes in past Willis. Simple as. The Galaxy wasn't even that great either, frankly. It was a really cagey matchup. And then the Galaxy just parked the bus as soon as they got the leading goal. And then Nashville started putting on the guys that actually got them to the playoffs in that position. Was too late. 1-0 LA Galaxy. I got that one wrong. 1-1 on my predictions. 1 for 2. Either way you want to say it. There you go. Then the Sunday matches. The Sunday afternoon match. Austin FC 2. Real Salt Lake 2. Austin FC wins 3-1 on penalties. RSL start. I got this one right. Went the distance, but I got it right. Real Salt Lake starts on the front foot. They start 2-0 lead pretty early, and I'm like, oh, Austin's in trouble. Then Sebastian Driussi single-handedly brings Austin back into the game. He does. The second best player in the league this year, the other MVP candidate who sort of faded down the stretch, which is, I guess, why Austin won, because the last time MVP went deeper than the first round was 2019. Was Vela, and they still didn't win the cup. So, with that being said, I'm just saying it's a trend. Because Mukhtar, of course, is the presumptive MVP. Driussi sort of faded away at the end of the season in that race. But Driussi single-handedly brings Austin back. Pretty good performance by him. 2 goals and a penalty scored in the shootout. RSL completely collapsed during the shootout. It was a complete opposite day compared to last year's first-round match for them. Their other 2-7 playoff match. And they just completely capitulate. Austin scores 3 great penalties. RSL misses 3 trash penalties. And there you go. Austin wins 3-1. They're through. Had that one right. 2-1 on my predictions. 2 out of 3 on my predictions, whatever way you want to say it. Next up, CF Montreal 2, Orlando City SC 0. I had that one right. Montreal going through. I thought they were the better team. They were a little bit cagey in the first half. Orlando definitely wanted it more, and the way it was played made it look like Orlando had more of a shot than they really did. Montreal in the second half, though, they started waking up and becoming who we know they are right now. And that was a great second half from Montreal. The goals from Ismail Kone with the Mihailovic assist. Mihailovic getting the late penalty to seal it that they should have had earlier in the matchup because there were 2 penalty shots that Elfath missed in the first half that should have been given, at least one of them. It should have been 3-0 or 4-0, frankly. But Montreal were the way better team. As the game gone on, they kept growing into the match. They got so much better as it went. So, I'm not shocked. I was right about that one. 3-1 on my predictions. 3 out of 4, if you want to say it like that. Then the Monday matches, last night's matches. NYCFC 3-0 over Inter Miami CF. Again, another cagey first half, but the second half, New York went thermonuclear. Scored 3 great goals. Morales, Gabriel Pereira, and Eber with a really, I won't say a really good tap-in, but it was a tap-in nonetheless, but that's what sealed the game. Miami, Higuain put one into the Hudson. Pozuelo didn't show up. The defense was trash. Drake Callender doesn't look like a top 3 goalkeeper of the year candidate in MLS in this match. Really? Callender over Ivicic? You were wrong. This match shows it, but again, not about playoffs, isn't it? NYCFC keeps their title defense going pretty easily, frankly. I thought this game would be a bit closer, but it wasn't. But I was right about it. 4-1 on my predictions. 4 out of 5. And then finally, FC Dallas won. Minnesota United FC won. 5-4 on penalties for Dallas. I had it right. I had Dallas going through, which makes my predictions 5-1 this week. 5 out of 6 on my predictions. Dallas, great defensively. Held the possession because they had to be. Held the possession for a long while. A metric ton in that game. They should have won in regulation or extra time. This hadn't went to penalties. This should have never went to penalties. The fact that it did shows that Dallas's front line needs to be better against Austin and other teams further along the line if they want to go forward in this tournament, this playoff. The first round, they got away with it. I don't know if you will against Austin in Austin. I don't think you will against LA Galaxy or LAFC, and I don't think you will against whoever comes out of the East. Even Cincinnati, frankly, if they somehow do. So, Dallas definitely, again, let people down. They played well this whole season, but that playoff match, they won by the skin of their teeth. Should have been better. They weren't. Should have been better. They weren't. But again, my predictions, 5-1 on the conference first round predictions. 5 out of 6. Right. That's a pretty good round of predictions. Could have went perfect, but, you know, that's football, ain't it? So now we will predict the conference semis. We'll go from Eastern Conference to Western Conference. 4 matches. We'll start with the 1 vs. 5 matchup. Philadelphia Union versus FC Cincinnati. For me, Philadelphia Union skull drags FC Cincinnati here. FC Cincinnati didn't even really play their best game against Red Bulls, and they still got through by basically default. As in, the Red Bulls pulled a Red Bulls, and Cincinnati capitalized. They're an okay team, but Union is the best team in the league right now, performance-wise, frankly. They're the best team in the league. They are the most talented team in the league. They're the most complete team in the league. Cincinnati doesn't have a shot or a prayer to win this game, even take it into extra time. They will be finished quickly. Hell, by halftime, there'll probably be an insurmountable deficit, frankly. They will be skull-dragged, Cincinnati. I just don't see how they won't be skull-dragged. Philadelphia Union goes on to the conference final. Next up, the 2-3 matchup. CF Montreal versus NYCFC. I think Montreal is the better team. My heart, again, wants NYCFC to win that match. My gut and my brain say Montreal, and that's what I'm going off of here. Montreal, at home at Stade Saputo, they filled that place in the first round, and I'm sure the second round, semifinal conference, they're going to fill Stade Saputo again. They played damn well against Orlando. They'll play well against New York. New York didn't really show me anything to where I thought they would be better than Montreal. They honestly kept pace, so to speak, the way they won their match, and Montreal won their match. But I think Montreal definitely were learning throughout their match about how to play the playoff games like they should, the way they've been playing since June. NYCFC, on the other hand, they honestly went thermonuclear against Miami in the second half just to go thermonuclear. Montreal have a better mindset, a better manager, a more complete team than New York right now. And I think that's why Montreal goes through to face Philadelphia in the conference final. Next up, the Western Conference. LAFC versus LA Galaxy, the El Tráfico Conference Semi. Once again, we get another El Tráfico playoff match. 3 years after the last one, 2020, 2021. 2 seasons, but 3 years after the last one. This time in the conference semis, still at Banc of California Stadium. And this time, you know what? I had Nashville winning at the start with full predictions, but of course they didn't make it over LAFC. But you know what? I will stick with the upset here. I will stick with the upset. LA Galaxy wins over LAFC because LA Galaxy, this is a derby match. They may not have played well against Nashville, but LA Galaxy, all bets are off here. The last time they played a knockout match against LAFC, El Tráfico knockout match in the Open Cup, they slapped around LAFC. And they weren't really... LAFC was slightly better at that point in time. And they still are. But in a derby, especially in the playoffs or a knockout situation, it doesn't matter who's better. It matters who wants it more. And honestly, the LA Galaxy, a lot of those players probably remember 2019. A lot of those players also remember the Open Cup. And they also remember the fact LAFC just won the Supporters' Shield. It's not because of the break, but there will be an upset in this round. And I have a feeling it's going to be LA Galaxy. I have a feeling they're going to want this more. They're going to prove that LA is still their turf or harder to earn for LAFC at some point. But this is still LA Galaxy's turf, and they want to prove it. They're going to leave their hearts out on that pitch at Banc of California Stadium, and I think they sent home LAFC depressed once again. And besides, LAFC, the way they've been playing football for the past 2 months since Gareth Bale got there, they haven't been as good as you would say LAFC really was before. They've sort of became more pedestrian, so I think they're poised to get picked off in an upset. Not just because it's the story, but because right now, they're pedestrian. They're pedestrian. I think LA Galaxy picks them off. The Western Conference, the second Western Conference semifinal, you got Austin FC versus FC Dallas. I think what hurt Dallas, or what could have hurt Dallas during the first round match, ends up hurting them in the conference semi. Austin has a great fan base. The vibes at Q2 Stadium are going to be absolutely off the chain. And Dallas's front line, they're going to struggle in the final third again. Austin, they'll learn their lesson from the RSL game. They will have better chances offensively. Driussi, Gite, and Fagundes. There's going to be multiple goals scored. This will be a goal fest, but I think Austin FC in the end wins 3-1, 4-2, something like that, but Austin wins. I think they're the better team. I think they would want it more. Another derby, by the way, Copa Tejas derby. 2 derbies on the western side of things. A mini derby on the east, and Montreal NYCFC. But the western side has some really tasty matches. I think they all are, but the western side, double derbies, cool. But Austin FC wins the first ever Copa Tejas playoff match. Well, in this current era with Austin, Houston, and Dallas, and all the other USL clubs. Austin wins. They go through the Western Conference Finals. So my predicted conference finals for the Eastern Conference Final, the 2 o'clock game, not this Sunday, but the Sunday after, the 30th, the day before Halloween. Philadelphia Union versus CF Montreal at Subaru Park, 1-2. And the world will be watching, but the Western Conference Final. Austin FC, the 2 seed, versus the LA Galaxy, the 4 seed. In Austin, Texas, at Q2 Stadium, the 2 seed versus the 4 seed. Austin versus the Galaxy. Should be a very good one as well. The world will be watching that. The 7 p.m. match on the 30th, the Western Conference Final. Should be a great one. That's my predicted Western Conference and Eastern Conference Final. Let's see if I'm completely right. We will find out on Thursday and this Sunday. Should be some great matches, double lives and RSR on both nights because the Western Derbies come second. Should be good. With that being said, if you like this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification once subscribed. Send super chats on the live streams. Put this in playlist. Share it to friends and family. All that great stuff. I will see you on Thursday for a live watch along of Philadelphia Union versus FC Cincinnati, a live watch along LAFC versus LA Galaxy, El Tráfico Conference Semifinal Edition, and review that match, LAFC versus LA Galaxy. I'll see you then. We will roll on playoff time. Can't wait. I'll be back. I'll see you then. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace.